Okay, folks, we're back with the second half of the show. And I was quizzing Dwayne in the first half of the show, and I have one more set of questions for you, sir.
Okay, go ahead. I'm ready.
Do you think Joe Biden is too old to run for president?
Is he too old? Yeah, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah,
I would put.
I know you. I know exactly what you're going to say.
I would put a upper parameter on all these kind of things, and not that I discriminate against older people, because God knows
Right.
we're in that group.
Yes.
But there are certain things that age is not complementary to, and in industry they recognize that. You know, you gotta bail out of the airlines at 60 or 60 something.
They can fly to 65 now.
65
Yep.
now. But I mean, they do have a parameter,
Absolutely.
and that's the end.
Hey, the police and fire used to
Exactly.
be 55.
Yep.
And you know what? I don't think that was all bad.
No, not at all.
But the guys that were in their 50s that said, look at me, I'm still healthy. I want a waiver. I want to go to 65. Well, you're a hell of a lot more prone to have a heart attack in your 60s than you are in your early 50s.
Or tackle some bruiser in a bar fight someplace.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so I have no qualms about putting a age parameter.
Right. Well, I would I guess I would say, is Joe Biden physically and mentally fit to be president?
My answer to that would be today would be yes. Next year, I wouldn't bet on it.
Heaven
I mean,
knows.
2 years down the road.
Yeah.
A presidency is a 4-year term, and well, you see it, I see it, even with ourselves.
Oh yeah.
I'm a lot less capable today than I was 2 years ago.
Yep.
And 4 years ago was a hell of a difference between then and now.
Mm-hmm.
We can see it a year now.
When I hit 80,
Yeah, everybody's got a milestone where they're just like something happens and
Yeah,
then something starts, like the warranties go off.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's a new ache and pain. This stiff neck that I've had, that the doctor says there's nothing wrong with me. It's been about 9 months I've had it.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell? So the next question was, is he mentally up for the job?
I'll go back in today. Yes.
You think so?
Yeah. Today he's not dementia.
No, but you know what? To be president, I think you've got to be able to juggle 10, 15, 20 balls at a time.
Oh, yeah.
He can't do that.
No.
No.
Well,
and the other
neither
thing-
can the other choice. That's the problem.
Yeah. The other point that I would make about that is, Mr. President, it's time for you to get briefed on the Middle East. All right, sit down and get a briefing. Mr. President, okay, now the economy, we've got 2 economists coming in to brief you on the latest. Okay. Mr. President, the folks, there's 2 doctors out there that are going to brief you on the latest flu epidemic.
You got to be able to multitask. Big
Yeah,
time.
but he can't. I would suggest to you he cannot do that. He can sit there and listen, but he's not retaining anything, I don't think. I mean, he goes and tries to shake hands with people that aren't there, and I mean, look. It's easy to say, well, you politically, you'd love to bang him and all that. No, in my heart of hearts, I feel very sorry for him because he's fading.
He's fading. You can see how he's walking and moving now. He's real. He's
And-
getting that old age shuffle.
Yeah, and I don't. People making fun of him. That's a, you know,
Yeah.
I don't go for that.
No.
Even though I'm guilty of it sometimes too. Do you think President Biden? Oh, wait a minute. I'm messing it up here. So, is
What were we
President
talking
Biden
about,
too old to
Were
run
we
for
talking
president?
about old age here?
Yeah.
And you messed it up?
Yeah, imagine that. So, is Donald Trump too old to run for
Yes.
president?
Same
Parameters. Okay. Is Donald Trump mentally up for the job?
Same parameters.
Okay.
Because I see a big change in him too.
Which of the two cares about people like you?
Which of the two? I have to say Biden. If you're doing this, because Trump is such an egomaniac. He is so self-centered that I don't think he cares for anybody.
Okay. So the answer to the first question is too old to run for president. 75% of the people said Biden was. 45% said Trump was. Is mentally up for the job. 25% said Biden was. Looks like about 40% said that Trump was. Cares about people like you. Dead heat.
Mm-hmm.
Is honest.
I'm going to give Biden the edge on that. Because you can't believe Trump for anything anymore. Maybe you could at one time, but he has gotten so far away from reality that,
But Biden has got all of these entanglements with his son. He's denying ever having talked about business,
Yeah.
and yet the facts are there that he has done that.
but so is the other one. Again, it's like
Yeah.
putting the scale here. Which one's got the one more acorn than the other one?
Biden finishes ahead, is honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Has a vision for the future.
Trump.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what this says.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, by a pretty good margin.
Biden doesn't live in the future. He tries to control what's going on in the present.
Yeah. Has a strong record of accomplishments as president.
Probably give that to Trump, but he gets a lot more publicity, so it's hard to.
Yeah, but I really, if you put me in a hammerlock and said, let's talk about Biden's accomplishments, I'm not sure I could come up with much.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Where Trump did a lot in his 4 years.
Yeah.
Is a likable person.
Oh God, Biden all over the place.
Yeah.
Trump is so obnoxious sometimes that you.
Yeah. On the economy.
Yeah. Well, I think Trump maintained an economy, and I think Biden took it over when it was tumbling and stopped the tumble, but it's still not where it was.
Huh.
So, I don't know. I got. If you added them all together, I think they got it pretty close.
Wow.
I know they're not going to come. They're not going to come out that way.
Trump, say, really energized the economy,
Yeah.
and as far as I'm concerned, Biden destroyed it. The inflationary bills that he passed and the open border, wow,
Yeah, well, the open border, that's a different story.
it's destroying the economy.
I'm not sure.
Well, look at what it's costing Massachusetts.
Yeah, but that's
I mean, that's just one state. We realize, we know that because it's reported on by the Boston papers.
it.
Look what it's done to New York City,
Yeah.
Chicago.
But on the other hand, if you bring 1,000 people into Boston, that's 1,000 people that are consuming. Okay? That's 1,000 pair of shoes that was bought from a manufacturer. That was 1,000 coats that was bought. That was
Yeah, but
1,000
these
meals.
people are illegal immigrants
I know, but that
aren't working.
stimulates the economy.
But the government is paying for all that stuff.
Yeah,
You and
that's
I
right.
are paying
That's
for it.
right. It's stimulating the economy. Look what happened. The economy was stagnant in 1940, 41. We went to war. Boom! The economy blew. It bloomed.
Well, it did because we were forced to put
Well,
people
that's
to
the
work.
same thing with the immigrants. It's not a good thing that they're here, but they're not ruining the economy. They are increasing the economy by turning over goods and turning things going. There's more people employed now making these shoes. There's more people employed feeding them. There's more people. It's
Well, nobody agrees with you. This is the widest margin that
I
Trump
know,
wins
because
on
they don't
the
look
economy.
at it that way. They look at it as a dead end, but it's not a dead end. In pure economics and the pure economy, it's not a dead end. It can't be unless you found this pit of something that you can pick all the stuff from. But there is no such thing. We have
So
to manufacture.
all these people coming across the border and wading through the Rio Grande River, this is a good thing?
No, it's not a good thing. I just said that. I said it stimulates the economy because they are consumers.
Oh, they have to eat.
That's right.
Yeah, but our taxes go up.
Yes, they do. That's
And,
why I
and
said
so
it.
that hurts the economy because
No.
we can buy less. We buy, well, look, if they take 20% away from you,
Yeah.
that's 20% you cannot spend in the economy.
Only if it's a deficit. And it's not. We're not to that point where things are rationed. That only comes up if there's a shortage of goods and supplies or goods and services, and we're not to that point.
Oh, wait a minute now.
If goods and services are adequate and there's a surplus, which we are, putting more people in does not mean that you're going to get less. You will still be able to buy a pair of shoes.
Dwayne,
You will still be able to buy a gallon of gas.
down in New York,
Yeah.
okay, they closed a school and
Yes.
sent the children home
Yes.
and converted it over to bedding and homes for the
Yes.
homeless.
Also, did you know that New York has 600 and some schools they're not using? They've got so many surplus schools. So go ahead.
Yeah, and also, it's costing the city of New York
Oh, there's no question about that.
hundreds of dollars a night
Oh, absolutely.
to house these people.
Hundreds of thousands a night.
Well, I'm talking for individuals.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
150,
yeah, yeah,
175 bucks a night.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No
And then they
question
got to
about it.
feed them on top of that. And so our taxes have to go up to pay for that.
Yes, they do.
All right. So Dwayne has less money to spend, less disposable income. So that hurts the economy.
No, because on the other end, when they spent it on the immigrant churned up the economy on the other end.
Yeah,
It's
but
not, the only time, I'm going to say again, the only time that comes into this, and if there's a scarcity, if you need 100 points or 100 pounds of goods, and you can only get 80 pounds, then you got this gap. But now there's 100 pounds. It doesn't matter if the immigrants use it or the mayor uses it. It doesn't matter.
But in either case, you're paying for it.
Yes.
You're not getting the benefit.
It's
from
not
it.
good. I didn't say it was good.
Oh, okay.
It's bad. But it does not affect the economy. But most people won't look at that because they probably never did much for economics.
Okay, well, anyway, Trump gets twice the
Oh, yeah, I'm sure
credit
they do.
that Biden gets. Securing the border.
Oh, that guy would have to, well, what Trump said he's going to do or did, or what he thinks he did, is two different things. Biden did zero. Biden did the opposite. He opened the damn thing up. Trump promised that he was going to close it, but he didn't, so Trump still wins.
Trump had the illegals down to a minimum.
Yeah. And Biden opened the damn thing up. Well, he opened it up already on his
Well, anyway,
on his inaugural speech when he said, we're open. Bring me your
yeah, oh yeah.
huddled
Yeah,
masses.
and going back to is too old to run for president, there's another factor here. That factor is Kamala Harris.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that is a frightening possibility.
That is being brought out. I heard this the other week again, or last week again, that there'll be a certain reluctance to vote for Biden because of who's sitting in the vice president's chair.
Yep.
Yeah. That's very.
Improving the infrastructure.
Neither one of them.
Trump gets a narrow victory there. Dealing with China.
I would say Trump on that because Biden is he doesn't know anything that goes on beyond the U.S. border.
That implies that he knows what's going on within our borders?
Well, somewhat. He's got advisors.
Yeah.
These guys all.
Trump wins that one big.
Yeah.
Creating jobs.
I don't know. Our job creation has been stellar the last year or so, but you don't hear it. And if you took the jobs that are lost during the COVID, then you got to say, well, and then Biden would win. But then you could say, well, it's not COVID wasn't Trump's fault. So I don't know. That's hard to. It's
Dead heat.
dead heat. See, there you go. I couldn't.
War in the Ukraine.
Oh, I trust Trump. Oh, I trust Biden 10-1 on that. First thing Trump's going to do is just bail out of there, and we're going to
Trump
tell him.
Trump wins that one big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be a catastrophe if they bail out of that.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with you on that. I think that Trump is going to listen to the military, and that's something that the Democratic brain trust refuses to do, is to listen to the military.
Well, he'll listen to the military until he thinks that they weren't loyal to him.
Americans, I'm going to skip this one. That's going to go on for a bit. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
Dwayne,
Yes, sir.
would you live in or buy a home where a violent murder took place, such as son shoots mother and father shoots two siblings or something like that?
Do what? Buy a home or
Yep.
live in?
Yep. One that had a history of violent murders taking place within the four walls.
Yeah.
You would. Okay.
Depends on what. Of course,
And,
it better be a damn good price. But
well, wait a minute now. So you're saying that there's a
if
downside to this?
not particular, I don't believe in that. The ghosts are there, gonna. But if the damn thing's got bullet holes all over and there's cucker on the walls and stuff like that.
No, it wouldn't be that. It would be all renewed.
Oh yeah,
and
it
everything.
wouldn't bother me if there was something I really wanted.
There is states that have placed laws that have said
have
you
to
must reveal
reveal
the
that. Yep,
history
that's
of
right.
the house. So what they're finding is that this really affects the prices of the homes,
Oh, absolutely.
drives them down.
There are some people that won't even go sit in the step on the yard.
Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking about this. So I thought about in my neighborhood. Well, I can tell you one house where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people died in my lifetime
Yeah,
in
okay.
that house.
Yep.
Now, were any of them violent? No. Well, wait a minute. One was a suicide.
There you go.
Another one was a lady who suffered mightily from cancer, and back in the 40s, there wasn't much you could do about that. They couldn't do anything for her in the hospital, and so she just stayed home and screamed and died. So that wouldn't bother you. No, it probably wouldn't bother me either. I mean, I don't believe in the spirit world yet. Things happen that are
That's right.
very, very difficult to explain.
I find those shows like that. There's one on Travel Channel, and they go to these creepy places at night. They creep me out because it's dark in the night in the basement someplace.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how genuine those
Yeah, I
shows
know.
are, too.
But as far as something happened in a house, I suppose I prefer that something didn't happen there, but it's not a factor. I said I'm not going to buy that house because I don't think that 4 walls and a floor, and a ceiling, has any kind of a memory of such that something happening, and unless you equate it to, like you say, the spirit world, I don't know.
Do you believe in the spirit world?
Yes and no. I don't, but I've had some experiences that a little on the creepy side.
Yeah,
Maybe that's everybody's had that.
yeah, I guess I do, because I've had people tell me stories. These are sane people
Oh yeah,
who have said, yeah, well, guess what? I mean, she died 3 days ago, but yet she spoke to me and said,
yeah.
I'm fine. I don't know. Is that something that she wished she heard? Is it something she imagined? But yet, I think that if you're in heaven and you see your wife suffering, and you come back and briefly say to her, I'm fine, sweetheart. I think that could happen.
If you believe in the afterlife, then it could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that there are certain things that are associated with people that pass. Birds is one. They come back as bird signs. Coins appearing or disappearing. Now I've had that. Monica and I both have had that experience several times.
Well,
When her brother died, a hawk showed up in my yard and sat on the edge of my garage, on the front edge like this. It was right here, and he'd watch me get in the car and get out. He was not afraid. He just sat there. After 2 or 3 days, he was gone again. My mother died. A crow followed us, and we laughed and they said, "How appropriate," because my mother was a very outspoken woman. And she was very active, and she was the senior citizen of the year at one point for the state, and very active on senior things. And if you were doing something that she didn't like for seniors, she let you know. She didn't care who you were. So a crow, with all the cawing and stuff, with both of us, that crow's been following us for 2 days. Wherever we go, we get out of the car. It's that damn crow again. But how appropriate that she'd pick a crow.
yeah. I have another sad subject to discuss. Americans are sick for more of their lives. If we take a look at the lifespan, it's, let's say, 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I'll make it more than that.
90 years.
100.
100?
We're ready, otherwise, we're to the end already.
Oh, I know that, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, if we look at our lifespan of 100 years, let's say,
All right.
and it used to be that 95 of the years were good,
Yeah, okay. I know where you're going.
and 5%
Yeah.
are shaky. We suffer, we're infirm, maybe dementia, maybe Parkinson's, maybe some sort of debilitating thing.
Right.
Oh, maybe we lose it, emotionally. So what the doctors are saying is, well, we're doing a good job of treating sickness, and we're extending people's lives when they contract cancer at age 70. They
Yeah.
now live longer.
Correct.
But what they're saying is, but the quality of their life
Quality of
has
life, that's-
degraded. Yeah. So, do you want to live a normal lifespan and let nature take its course, or do you want your life to be extended through stuff that extends your life, but at a degraded quality of life?
No.
No, neither do I. I don't want to be in a wheelchair in a
Yep.
rest home and have
Nope.
my sons come and see me. Oh, let's poke Dad and see if he's awake.
Yeah,
or
no,
see if he's.
that's a terrible way to exist.
It is. It is. But we're caught in a trap here, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
And it's modern medicine that's doing it to us. Not as a plot, but as it's the after effect.
No, ideally, I would like to see my life terminate in that I've lived what I want to live. I go to sleep that night and I die in my sleep.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, and you know what, Dwayne? I'm with you 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the ideal situation would be to die in my sleep.
Yeah. My mother almost got her. She always said, she said, I don't care how long I live, I just don't want to end up in some deserted nursing home someplace,
Yeah.
and seeing where other friends and that going through dementia and not knowing what's going on and all that stuff, and or some suffering disease. She says, oh, I hope that don't happen to me. And she got up one morning, took her cup of coffee. She was a needle pointer. I don't know what they do. She'd make these elaborate things. And she would watch news. She'd get up, or she wasn't a sleeper. She'd get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And she got up, she had her coffee cup there, had her needle points, stuff, died just like that in the chair.
You know,
Felt great, no complaints, but
yeah, and for every one of those, I can counter that.
oh my God.
Unfortunately, I've had in my lifetime, I would say I've had 3 or 4 best friends. And one of my best friends, 46 years old. His wife was feeding the 3 kids. They had children later in life. And Kenny walked into the kitchen and said something like, what are we having for breakfast? Pow.
Yep.
Right on the floor. Dead as a mackerel. Right in front of the kids.
No, that's tough. It's tough on the kids too.
Good way for Kenny to go, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody,
Another one. I always thought of a sad scenario that I would ever want to be faced with. They put you in a hospital or a rehab, something. You know full well you're not going home. You're getting worse by the day or month, not by the week. It gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, and you know it's terminal. That to me would be extremely frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
As bad as today is, you know that's as
Tomorrow's
good as it's
gonna
going
be
to
worse.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and yeah, I never want to end up in one of those deals where the kids come and look at me. Are you okay, Dad? Dad?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sitting there and I can't speak, and I'd like to say I'm fine, but no, that man.
Oh, I know. That's exactly. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
feel that way. Do you know this past week is good and bad if you were an animal? Now, if you were a dog,
Yeah.
it's good. If you're a bull, it's not so good. Because in bulls, in Mexico City has overturned the ban on bullfighting.
Oh boy.
All the schools have opened back up the schools for book fighting. But if you're a dog living in South Korea, they just banned eating dog meat. So the dogs win, the bulls lose.
I guess something like that, but it's different. Shoot.
South Korea bans eating dog meat. Actually, it says that only 93% in Korea ever mentioned that or would admit that they've ever had to eat dog meat, but anymore because it had
Wow.
fallen out of favor with the younger people.
Yeah, the older folks like it.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
I know when I was
here
in
we go.
Vietnam back in early 60s, mid 60s, their meat shops or butcher shop whatever, always had some dogs hanging there. It was never saw a stray dog running around.
I can remember in the 60s and 70s when I'd go to Boston and I'd go to every Bruins game and stuff like that. Some of the afternoon games, and sometimes we'd get out of Chinatown after the game
Yeah, oh yeah.
and eat and then go home. Boy, some of the stuff you used to see hanging in the windows.
The ducks and the geese and whatever they were.
Dwayne,
Yeah.
the Massachusetts Senate is probably about the most useless body put on the face of the earth.
You think?
But you know what they're going to do now? They're going to update sex laws. Would you realize that we still criminalize sodomy and unnatural acts? So they're going to change the language. This is what the Senate is doing.
Oh, they're so concerned.
Yeah, when we
Stop
have
that. Yeah.
all kinds of problems, crime in the street, education, the kids are growing up stupid, and they're messing around with this.
You know why? Because the other things, that crime in the street stuff, they don't have any answers. This they can pontificate on.
Yeah, and not only that, but crime in the street, because people are going to say, you bastards are the ones that defunded the police.
Yeah.
So they're going, we don't want to talk about that. The school system, well, you cut the spending there too. And, But now, so they're going to do this. And also, they're taking up another measure and debating it. The declawing of cats. They're going to outlaw that. Now, I'm ambivalent on that question. I can understand, but if the cat is never going to go outside, and there's, you know damn right well the cat is going to wreck some furniture or something in the house or scratch or use something for a scratch and post. I don't know. But they are debating declawing cats. And yet, we have surgeons gelding boys and desexing girls and cutting off sexual organs and all of that.
Yeah.
And we're doing that to human beings.
That's right.
Stuff that they used to, the doctor, what was his name, in Nazi Germany at Auschwitz.
Yep. Mendele.
Dr. Mengele. He would have blushed at that stuff. And we're doing it to babies and kids.
That's right.
But now we're going to talk about, well, we shouldn't be declawing cats.
Well, it's not just cats or whatever. It's also gone into the farming community. You can't.
Well, they have to have a 3-bedroom suite now for the pig family.
Just about.
Yeah.
You can't dehorn cattle. You can't bobtail.
Horses.
No, cows.
You can't bobtail horses
Horses
either.
yeah. But, the
The Clydesdales, they found that out.
dairy cattle, they always left the tail about this long, because otherwise they were always getting in stuff and just throwing.
Swatting flies.
But throwing,
everything else in its path.
they weren't too clean when they went to the bathroom, and that tail had a big puff on the end.
Yep.
It was like somebody swishing a sponge around with. So that was removed, but you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You can't dehorn on certain areas. Pigs have to have, pigs at Massachusetts pigs, or pigs that are sold here, they have to have a certain 2 bedrooms and a 3-car garage and a date for the prom and a color TV. Where was it? I think it was BJ's. It said something about, we're sorry about the pork prices, but we have to conform now to, as of January 1st, to what you voters voted on 2 years ago. Sort of ignorantly, you didn't know what the hell you were voting for. And I saw another story that says, we're sorry that eggs cost $5 a dozen now. But again, you voted for it.
You've just brought up a hell of an interesting question. So, we have these politicians, Bill Galvin for one. We've got to get out the vote. We've got to make sure everyone votes.
Galvin has never had a job in his life.
That's right.
He still has never had a job.
Yeah.
That's not a job, what he does. Once or twice a year, he goes in and films some public service commercials. And what the hell does he do the rest of the time?
Probably works on reducing the
signs. Somebody brings something in to sign. The sign says.
Or probably does a little high living on the expense account.
I suspect so.
Yeah. But the thing is that the politicians, we've got to, what a shame this is. Only 71% of the people voted. Well, the 29% that didn't vote, I'm happy they didn't vote.
That's right.
Because they have no concern as to what's going on.
That's exactly right.
They are ignorant of the facts. Otherwise, they would have some concerns. They
right.
are classic dullards.
Yep.
Oh, what do I want to vote for? They're all crooks. Have another beer. Do we really want them shaping?
No, we don't.
Yeah.
You don't want 100%.
That's right.
Voting. You never want that.
I don't want it. I can tell you that. And I'll tell you what. What scares the hell out of me, really, and makes me mad, is we've got all these illegal immigrants coming into this country. Downstream, we're going to have an amnesty program. And it's going to say, you're all citizens.
What else could we do?
Well,
We don't even know where they are. Yeah, you can throw
first
them
of
out.
all, if you don't have the right papers, and if you didn't come to this country legally, you cannot become a citizen as far as I'm concerned. All right?
I'm a big advocate of immigration, but it's immigration with a purpose.
done the right way. Yeah.
We need workers.
There's no question about it, Dwayne. And we had an immigration system. But I guess we weren't getting the right people or enough of them. Or I don't know. I don't know what is going on in Biden's mind. I mean, well, I'm sure that AOC went to him and said, now come on, Joey,
Yeah. Well,
open the doors.
this has been going on for the bureaucracy is what's killing this thing. We can't get away from the fact that an immigrant comes in, he has to fill out this form. Then it has to go to this group. They have to look at it for a while. Then he's got to sign off. Then somebody else got to sign off. And the time it goes around to have anything done, it's years as went by. Now what's happening, time they get back to decide, this expired. And they got to start all over again. So it's just like a circle. You never get out of that circle. In the meantime, you've got farms in the Midwest
Yeah.
that I need 100 workers.
Yeah.
I'm milking 3,000 or 4,000 cows here. I need 40 or 50 milkers. I need, tenders for this and tenders for this. Where are they?
Well, but here's the problem, Dwayne. We used to have work permits.
Yeah, well, that's the
Okay.
whole point. That's what I was going to.
Yeah.
Now it takes so long to go through that process that it's just spinning on its own axis. It's nothing's getting done because we've burdened ourselves with this bureaucratic mess.
Again, you know what it is? It is just like Pogo in his great
Yeah.
comic strip. We have found the enemy, and it is us. Mm-hmm. We have managed.
I know I oversimplify. We both do
Yes.
because we're not technical
No.
on any of this stuff. But sometimes just common sense would make some sense. You could take instead of bringing the people, letting them come in, and then have them apply for jobs. Let the job bring the people. A dairy farm, he needs 75, and this one needs 50, and this one needs 20. This one needs, you aggregate, go around. So then you go to places like, I don't care, Venezuela, Ecuador,
Mexico.
Who wants to work on a farm in Minnesota? You. Fill out the paper. All right, there you go. If we don't find any, in a week we don't find that you're a mass murderer or a cartel thing, there you go. You go to Caryville,
Yep.
Indiana, and you'll be on this farm. Boom.
And-
We've took care of the immigrant problem, and we took care of a labor problem.
And just to simplify matters even further, the military had a very nice system of taking care of people and keeping track of people. It was
they never
called dog tags.
Yeah, and they never had a computer to do it.
Yeah.
Everything
So-
was.
Yeah. Well, have the seasonal workers, we had dog tags. Oh, that's demeaning. It isn't demeaning, for God's sake.
These ain't even seasonal. They want these permanent.
Yeah, I mean, you've got people that can't speak English. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you get a dog tag. It's all this information is right on it. All right, you can keep track of people with that. Let me have your dog tag. Boop, scan it. Okay,
That's
you're
right.
good to go. And then round them up when the season is over. Back to Mexico. Come up again in the spring.
When I was a kid, we Mexicans would show up, the little town area that I lived in, right across the street. The guy that was the head Mexican, he brought the people. They always rented the upstairs of the house across the street. And he had 3 kids, and every summer I'd wait for them to come back, and because we played all summer, with them. And they were seasonal. They started in the southern part of the States and then worked up. And they picked beans and they harvested peas for the canning companies. But over the years, that all became mechanized, so that business went away.
That was back-breaking work, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. When we were kids, we used to pick beans right alongside of them. They got paid 3 cents a pound. And at the end of the day, I was 9. I maybe picked 10 pounds. I had 30 cents. And these people had gunny sacks, But they had, Papa was there, Mama, and all the kids. It was, it was back-breaking work. And they'd get there in the back of a truck, and then they lived they'd rent some old empty farmhouse, and there'd be 30 of them living in there. And when that was done, then they'd move on to the next. They went north as a season changed. And when the season was done, they'd all go back and they'd load up in them old rickety trucks and head back to Mexico.
Yeah. It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what scares the hell out of me, it just makes me sick, is someday they'll pound it through, amnesty for everybody, and we'll have citizens that can't speak English.
Oh, yeah.
That have no idea the history of this country, our social mores, our educational system, nothing. They won't have a bloody thing. And they'll be able to vote just like you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is wrong.
Especially the speaking English. That
Yeah.
So many of them want to fight learning English, and that should be job 1.
Job 1 is right.
Right there. You cannot assimilate well into any country if you don't speak the language.
Yeah.
You just can't get along. You can't.
No. And look at, just for instance, up in Michigan, they've had an influx of Middle Easterners.
Yeah. Somalis and
Yep. And Dearborn, Michigan, I think is one of them.
exactly.
Yeah. And they still have and practice Sharia law,
Yeah.
which is against the law. And does anybody do anything about it? Not a
Nothing.
And you cannot have another form of government within
right.
our borders.
It's so bad in some neighborhoods the police won't go in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is absolutely madness.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. We don't realize that we're setting up two countries. Actually, we're setting up many countries, but we've got the natives, us, or the English speakers, and then the immigrants that don't speak English. They're a foreign element, and they're always going to be a foreign element unless they learn to speak English, learn to assimilate. Now, you can't. A lot of countries, you take Japan, you can't emigrate to Japan.
No, you can't.
I mean, if you want to live in Japan, you can live there for a certain period of time. But you better be able to, if you're going to come there, one, you have to have, a lot of countries, you have to have a certain amount of finances. You have a certain abilities.
Yeah, that you can support yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Monica's nephew, he's back now, but he was teaching English in one of these programs that they send up. And, he said that their acceptance, but there's limits. If you don't speak Japanese, and you don't understand what they're doing, they're not going to.
Now, we've had a sizable Chinese population in this country for
long time.
a couple of centuries.
Yeah.
Okay? And yet, We have fifth and sixth generation Chinese in this country. They can't speak English.
Yeah.
They go to enclaves,
Yeah.
and it's like they throw a border around the enclaves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No whites allowed. You know, we are here. This is us. And they have their own little form of government. It's now. I get they're not citizens and they don't want to be citizens. So, I mean, when it comes to medical care and retirement and all that stuff, I guess they take care of themselves, but they are anti-assimilators. Assimilators.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think some of that is that the Chinese, especially, really consider themselves superior. And they do not want to be part of this mismatch or...
I think that the older ones were like that. I'm not sure the younger ones. Are so much.
Yeah, well, listen, the
Yeah.
younger ones are getting educated
Yeah.
and they're being forced to go to schools. But even in Chinatowns, they're not being forced to go to schools, you know?
Yeah.
It's a closed society that they have formed.
Well, you got that in different parts. You got Little Italy's. You got.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But people want to they tend to flock to their own. And even in larger geographic areas, they do the same thing. You know, where I come from, you were either German or Scandinavian. They're all there. You rarely found an Italian. Once a few Polish in there, but again, they're all the same.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah. But
you're going to speak English
yeah, they spoke English.
and understand our laws and all of that. And they can assimilate in somewhat. But to want to live
Yeah.
in the neighborhood with
Only with their own. Yeah.
your friends and your people that share a common background with you, you feel comfortable doing that? Well, what the hell? What's wrong with that? Nothing. By the way, one last thing I have here. Wall Street Journal, folks, is a wonderful publication. Comes every day, and there's always fascinating stories in it. And then there's maddening stupidity in it from time to time.
Well, you can't be 100% all the time.
So, look at the size of this page, okay? This is a full newspaper page. Look at the story that dominates the page. This is a story that takes 2/3 of the page in the Wall Street Journal. And you know what it's about? It's about Taylor Swift is changing from glossy makeup to matte makeup so that her cheeks are less shiny. And look at, they give you all the stuff over there to do it with and all that.
I already bought that stuff.
2/3.
I already bought that stuff.
I notice you look less shiny today. 2/3 of a page wasted on this baloney. Yikes.
Bill, American consumer, well, the consumer in general, but you can't ever say that they're too trite because they'll be triter tomorrow.
Triter. Let me write that word down.
Because there's no such thing as being too trite. Yeah. I mean, it's too stupid or too fatty. Not fad,
Yeah.
F-A-D. There's no end because, first of all, somebody starts these, and a lot of times it's the commercial end of it that convinces everybody that this is what you're going to be doing. And then you get somebody like, if they can talk Taylor Swift into it, oh my God, then everybody's going to follow her.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Or we also are obsessed. I'm not. I'm sure you're not. But obsessed with what celebrities are doing.
That's right. That's the last person I'm going to take advice from,
Or guidance
leader-
in
or
how I
guidance,
should
yeah.
conduct my life.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is the bottom of the pit right for
Yeah.
me.
I mean, how many of them die of drug overdoses?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I really want to set my sail to his way of doing business.
Now, I'm going to make an admission here.
Okay?
And you can people out there, you call me stupid or whatever you want. I can't name one Taylor Swift song,
Nor can I.
nor can probably Bill.
No.
If I hear her voice singing, I'm probably going to be 60 to 70% if I guess who that is by the voice, but I don't know the song.
Right.
But even then, I say, is that Taylor Swift? And my wife said, no, that's Beyonce or somebody else.
Or somebody else, yeah.
But I for the life, I can't name you. If somebody come in and said, I'll give you $10,000 to name a Taylor Swift song, I couldn't do it.
No.
Do, Bill.
Well, I tell you, it's the same with me. I have no idea. In fact, I'm always asking Susie, who the hell is that?
Are you too?
Yeah. Oh, that's so-and-so. She's on the blah, blah, blah show or something. Or she was a well-known woman writer. I don't know who the hell these people are. Drives me nuts.
Doesn't Susie get People magazine?
No.
Oh, my God. You want a half a dozen or a dozen of them?
I'll take him to the dump for you. But, yeah, I don't know. Dwayne, it's NRA Chief LaPierre says he's resigning days before the trial.
Oh, that was on. Like, bail out quick before that ship goes down.
Yep. Well, I tell you what, folks, I am a gunner, but I let my membership in the National Rifle Association lapse when I read that book about
Yeah, I read that.
It
was your book.
about this LaPierre draining off all these finances and everything. Well, he's been taken to court by the New York State Attorney General, and now he's paid some $1 million back in charge, and now he's resigning at the age of 74. But he drained the coffers at National Rifle Association, and the membership dropped from 5 million down to 4.3 million after that book was written about him. So he's getting his due.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what, folks, on that note, I want you to stay warm and stay dry. And
No more storms.
No. We're going to get 1 to 2 inches, I think.
Yeah, an inch or two of that.
Yeah. And then cold again, or warm
next
again,
week,
and then
then
cold
cold
again.
again.
It's winter time here. And we're halfway through.
Yeah.
And the days are getting longer.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah.
The night one's more.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The morning one's only a minute or so, but the night one, we've caught up almost a half an hour already.
Yep. Not bad. So listen, folks. Bundle up, stay calm, stay healthy, and we'll see you in a couple more weeks.
Be good. Be nice to each other.